These are the Carbon Graphite Edition playing cards. And both sides have the Elemental Playing Cards logo and the Luke Wadey design logo. The bottom has some ad copy, and the back has stuff we'll get into a little bit more later. The top simply says Carbon, and you do get a completely custom tuck seal. The inside tuck flap has a really cool quote by Paulo Coelho, and the inside of the tuck box is blank. And since that's all I can say for the tuck box, let's take a look at the cards inside. This is your back design for the Graphite Edition playing cards. Now, this is not my favorite back design, one from Luke Wadey and two from Elemental Playing Cards. It's kind of odd. It is one way by far, like there's not even a chance it could be two way. It makes it so limiting to the fact that it would almost only be a collector's deck. I mean, you can definitely do cardistry with it, but because of how much of a one-way design it is, it kind of limits this deck in my opinion. Especially since the tuck box was so cool. Speaking of cool things in this deck, the number cards are freaking awesome. So you'll actually see a bunch of smudges coming down this one side, none on this side, and all of the pips and indices and values are going to be the same. So they're all going to be a little bit smudged, just like you're writing with a graphite pencil, and your hand rubs it a little bit. So that's really cool. And then the backgrounds of each one, so you'll have like stuff down here, but that 2 is going to be different from this 2, and that 2 is going to be different from this 3. Every single card in this entire thing is going to have a different background, which I do think is really cool. And then when you fan it one way, it's going to look like this, and when you fan it the other way, it will be blank, which again is not going to be my favorite. I wish that no matter which way you fanned it, you'd get this really cool cigar band, because this cigar band is freaking awesome. I do wish though that you could do it both ways. Your 3 aces are both simple and beautiful. Here are your court cards, which are one of my favorite parts of this deck, because the black cards are all done in black and white, but I do almost wish this would have been a fully black and white deck. So even the red cards, although they only have black and red now, I almost wish that they would have just gone all black and white. Kept the reds a little bit smudged. Even if the shading was going to have to be a bit different, I do think that could have been an improvement to this deck. But these court cards are freaking awesome. Before we get into the 3 ad cards, the Ace of Spades, because the ad cards are my favorite thing in this deck. So you do get a pretty cool Ace of Spades pip, all customized obviously. You get the atomic mass, you get his logo, and the attention to detail in this is amazing. Like even the fact that there's 2 rings for the electrons to go around the proton and neutron, and you have the 4 on the outside and 2 in the inner circle. This is like actually how the science of it works. Really cool attention to detail. Your first ad card is a almost double backer, but this is almost just more of an artistic card. But if he doesn't have this as a back design, I would highly recommend it, because this back design is freaking cool. Then your 3 ad cards, you get a hand with a big old thing of graphite in the center of it, and then you put a little bit of pressure, he squeezes it real tight, and out comes a diamond. So even if you didn't use this in a magic effect, the creativity in this 3-piece combo is honestly super cool. When it comes to the back design, being fanned one way before being shuffled looks like this, and the other way is going to look like this, and the faces are going to have 2 different fans as well. The first one is here, which is my favorite of the 4 fans, and the second is here. So again, I do wish that it would have been a 2-way deck, but you know, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And then when it comes to Pharaoh shuffling, not really much of a problem here considering it's not broken in and is already Pharaohing so well. And then from bottom to top is going to fan even better. And after a couple of shuffles, your face fans are going to look like this, where it's all just a mix of the 2 types of fans. Again, this doesn't look very good. It looks kind of sloppy. And then when it comes to the back design, once it's been shuffled up, it's actually not as bad, but even just like this, where it has the breaks and it isn't just continuous, is not my favorite thing in the world. Next is the stock finish and how this deck is going to feel in your hands. So when it comes to the stock and finish, it's going to be air cushion finish in your classic stock. So if you held a deck of bicycle playing cards, that's exactly what it's going to feel like. Just to explain what that actually means, when it comes to the thickness of it, it's going to be right down the middle, and then when it's going to come to how it feels in your hands, you have like more snappy decks, more buttery decks, some that are somewhere in the middle. This one's going to have a good amount of both buttery and snappy. Buttery decks are used more for things like under pressure, they'll look like this, and backdrop, which is like this for more snappy decks, which is a fantastic move as well, and both of those you can learn here on the channel. But let me help you figure out if you should buy this deck. First thing that should be able to help you is this deck is actually going to be 10% off down in the description below with code cardperfectmagician, so make sure to check that out. Next is also just going to depend on what kind of person you are. So if you're a magician, I'm probably not going to be picking this deck up because of how customized these faces are, and especially the back design, which will not help you at all. For cardistry, I feel like it can be used, but it's not a really cardistry intended deck. For collectors, I definitely think you should pick this deck up, and here's why. Both Luke Wadey and Elemental playing cards are massive creators in the playing cards industry. So whether you want to collect their decks all sequentially or just however, what order you get them in, I would 100% just collecting a lot of their decks. I do have some of those myself as well. So like the X deck by Luke Wadey, beautiful deck. Like Mono X, super cool deck. I'll leave the review to that one in the description, but I would 100% recommend checking out his playing cards and Elemental playing cards. This is my first of his, and I'll definitely be picking up more. But even if you don't like that and you just like science, cool court cards, art, or something that would look cool on a card shelf like that, this is definitely going to be a deck you'll want to pick up. Should you play card games with it? I mean, I think that you can. The back design isn't marked or anything, so you won't have any problems there. And the faces are easy enough to read, especially when it comes to the values and the indices, that you should definitely be able to play card games with it. The only hesitation I would have is having my friends play with a deck of cards that I like a lot, this being one of them. So would I do it? Probably not. And is this a hype deck? Heck no. So once again, if you guys want to pick up these playing cards right here, I'll leave a link in the description so you guys can check it out. And if you like playing card reviews, this is the channel for you. I mean, seriously, it's every single week that I post one. So make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting subscribe and ringing the bell icon so you can be notified when they drop. But if you want to check out more right now, you can actually check out the deck reviews playlist right there and another video of mine right here. I'll make sure to catch you guys in the next one. Another video dropping real soon. And if you guys want to check out the merch, I'll make sure to leave that in the description so you guys can check that out as well. But enough of the talk. This is Card Perfect, signing off.